Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of supply now. Now that we're understanding determinant of supply, let us read out certain points which are a part of determinants, or rather which are the factors that can relate to affecting the supply part of any economics. The first one, or rather the thing that we have mentioned here, is that at any point in time, the total quantity supplied of a good or service in the market is influenced by a number of factors, which I've already explained. The number of goods and services that are being supplied in the market depend on how much, or rather what are the kind of goods that are being supplied there. So we need to exactly understand what are those factors. Some of them being cost of the factors of production. The cost of factors such as input as land, or rather cost factors input such as land, labor, capital, etc. is one of the determinant factor. So the more expensive it is to make that specific product or service, the more the cost of that supply would be, or rather the more the cost of that specific product or service would be. So for example, if you are buying a Rolls Royce, you won't get a Rolls Royce for 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs. The reason being the cost of making those cars is very much, and hence those cars, or rather these kind of luxurious cars, are priced heavily. So this is one of the important factor. But the same thing, if you want to buy a Maruti Suzuki or probably a Honda or probably any other car apart from that, the cost of making those cars is little less as compared to what it is when it comes to a Rolls Royce. Hence there is a price difference here in the first factor. For instance, if the price of the labor goes up, then supply of the product will decline due to higher labor cost. That's one correct thing. So if the product, or rather whatever services are being offered here, if one of the factor goes up, the product decline, or rather the product's demand will keep on declining here because there is increase in the cost. Change in technology. Now, if you're making certain items using the old technology, and if you're making that same item using a new technology, whereby the new technology will give you an enhanced product, in such situations, this will also increase the price of that product. Let's read it out. The change in technology as a result of constant research and development activities in terms of improvised machinery, improved method of organization and management, helps business units to reduce the cost of production. Now, because of this new technology, the cost of production will go down because the labor, the manpower, everything that is required will be completely cut down as the machines will get the work done. So very few people will be needed to handle that specific machine, and hence the cost of production will go down here. All this contribution significantly increase the market supply at given prices. So all those products which were made at a higher price earlier, if this technology comes in, or rather technology takes the place of it, it will be done at a cheaper rate, and hence you will be able to sustain the profit in that scenario. Price of related goods, that is substitute. So now, supply of one goods and service can be affected if there are substitutes to it, or rather we can call as related goods. So if those are there, if their price increases or decreases, the same will have a major effect on the supply of this specific product or service. Now how exactly? We'll read it out. Prices of related commodity also affects the supply of commodity X. Say, if the price of a substitute good Y increases, the supply for that good increases, and the producer would shift the allocation of resources from Y to X. For example, if the price of the substitute good Y increases, now the supply of substitute of Y, that is X, will keep on increasing because the cost of Y is already increasing. Hence, X will be cheaper at that point of time, and hence, because of that thing, people will purchase more of X. Supply of X will be needed at a very urgent basis. So all the resources will be moved to X side. Change in the number of firms in the industry. Now, if 10 different firms are making same product, then there will be a lot of competition. If 10 different firms are making 10 different products, then it will be a completely price, or rather we can talk about monopolistic competition. So when we are talking about one single product whereby there are a lot of manufacturers in the firm, it affects the supply here. A change in the number of firms in the industry as a result of the profitability also influence the market supply of goods. For example, an increase in the number of firms in the industry attracted by higher profit would increase the quantity supplied of goods at a given price. So if 10 different people are selling you the same thing, and if one different person was earlier selling you the same thing, you will have a lot of competition here. So earlier you just had one person who was going ahead and selling you those goods and services. Now considering the profit that is being made here, few more sellers came into the picture, competitor and they started offering you the same goods at same prices, or rather at a little less price. So of course there will be a lot of supply of that specific thing, or rather that specific good or service, depending on the income comparison or profitability index here. Taxes and subsidies. A change in government fiscal policy in change of, or rather in terms of tax rate or amount of subsidy, may influence or supply, or rather influence the supply of goods in the market. A increase in the amount of tax or subsidy would allow the firm to offer larger amount of goods at a given prices. So if government gives you subsidies, if government starts giving you relaxations on certain things, of course the supply of the goods is bound to go up, because you will have a lot of production done, cost of production will go down automatically. Goal of a business firm. The goal of a business firm, such as profit maximization, sales maximization, or both, is responsible for influencing the supply of a goods or service. Now, if the goal of the market, or the goal of the firm, is to enhance the specifications of that product and then increase the profitability, it can be done, and it will be done in all the cases here. In a case the firm is interested to maximize profit, the same may be attained by decreasing the market supply of a good under certain conditions, where the goal of sales maximization will be to attained by increasing the supply. Now in certain cases they might restrict the supply so that the demand for the product keeps on increasing, and that affects the price of that product, and then they can release the supply. This is one more factor. Natural factors such as climatic changes, particularly in the case of agriculture product, influence the supply. So basically whatever agriculture supply we have, if the natural factors are promoting that thing, then it will keep on increasing the gross productivity of such products on services, and that will keep on happening. So there are certain natural factors that also take a picture in this. So all these things that we have understood right now are the determinants of supply, and basically these are the things that can affect the factors that, or rather these can affect the concept of supply here. So these are the things that you need to understand while preparing everything that is related to the specifications of goods and supplies determinants, and demand and supply determinants. So that's it all for the video. Thank you.